The 1970s was the beginning of arcade games, and within that decade, Namco game designer Sho Isuki, who created the 1976 arcade F1, wanted to create a racing game that would simulate a real on-track racing experience. Sho was able to create Pole Position in 1982. This game had a host of challenges, from having to use two 16-bit processors, which was unheard of back in the day, to arguments at what speed the shifter should be used for the best racing performance. And this will bring me to the graphics. When you're racing a road course, as you're in turn 1, you're planning your next turn and using signs and objects to know where the braking zones are. So just like real racing, Pole Position incorporated these objects in the game. And now we get to the conspiracy theories. Pole Position Arcade had new technology that had never been used, but what about product placement on billboards? And that is exactly what Namco did with billboards with Pepsi, Canon, and Marlboro cigarettes, just to name a few companies. I searched high and low and I could not find anywhere of a signed agreement for Namco's Pole Position to use any of these logos in their game. Namco claimed they just put it in the game, as the tracks were modeled after real tracks and the signs were to add to the realism. Now you would think Namco would be aware of copyright laws, as they were introduced in 1970, or maybe there was a backdoor money deal from the companies having their images put into the game. This was 1982 and everything's fine until 1989, when Dr. John W. Richards wrote a complaint to the Federal Trade Commission for the Sega video game Super Monaco GP, stating it is one giant Marlboro cigarette ad targeting kids. Philip Morris claimed at the time of the complaint that they had no idea that their image was being used, and Senator Thomas Lukin stated that there would be a hearing on the matter. So Philip Morris sent a letter to Sega to recall and remove the logos, and at the moment, Sega agreed. Supposedly at the same time, Philip Morris sent the same letters to Namco's Pole Position, and Namco did comply by issuing new ROM chips to be changed, the old ROMs to be sent back and destroyed. Sega, on the other hand, was not as active, and it took until 1992 where an agreement was made that Sega ran ads in trade magazines that they would give end users a new conversion kit and $200 if they comply. There was no official record or list of how many arcades actually got converted, and some say this was just a long game of big tobacco hoax to clean up their image that they were not marketing to kids. What is interesting, there's no comments or lawsuits for any of the other billboard companies like Pepsi or Canon that were used in the game. So what do you think? Was this a mistake, marketing scheme, or something else? Comment below, and as always, we want to thank you for watching, and I want to see you on the leaderboard.